What's going on, guys? The Barber Phil here, back again with another haircut tutorial. And in today's tutorial we're doing a mid fade pompadour with a hard part comb over on maybe the most difficult hair in the industry. Make sure you stick around to the end, see how we got there. Alright guys, so this is some of maybe the most difficult hair texture that you can find in the industry of barbering, at least in my personal opinion. It's the real thick, coarse, springy, straight Oriental hair. Hispanic hair is pretty close to the same hair texture, but guys, it's very difficult because especially whenever they want to have a style such as this, you guys can tell that the hair just naturally wants to just fall straight forward. So if they're wanting to get much lift out of it, or especially take it back, it definitely presents a lot more trouble for you as the barber to cut it, for them as the client to style it. And then as far as like your crown area in the back, it's got to be left a little bit longer. If it's too short, it's going to immediately spring up. But you obviously don't want to leave it too long because you can't leave them with too much length to work with. So there's definitely, you know, a happy medium in there that you have to be able to find. And so what we did was we started off by saturating the hair really well, combing it over in the direction that he wanted to, kind of get it to where it naturally wants to fall in that direction. We went ahead, tapped in the hard part. Now I'm just working on the top. He didn't want much off. He was pretty happy with where the length was to start with. So basically I'm just going to work from the front to the back, making sure that we do pull some of that previous section into the current section we're working on so that we have a guide to go off of. And then we will work our way from right along the hard part over more towards the middle, and then the same thing, kind of pull towards the back. And you can pull from that left side section that you started with, just to kind of give you a guide. And then we obviously don't want too much hair falling off onto that right side. We don't want that hair really bunching up too much. But what I'm trying to do is get it to the desired length that we would like. And then here in a second we're going to come in, take the Dyson, go ahead and blow dry it into style. I'm actually going to go ahead and put product in it and get the top completely styled and ready for us to come in and do the fade underneath. So if you guys have heard in the past couple videos that I've mentioned, I have been mixing the Oriental hair tonic in with my water. And why I really like and enjoy using it like that instead of just plain water is when I come in and I blow dry style a client's hair, especially if I'm going to blow dry prior to doing the actual fade, is that tonic, it has hold to it and it adds volume. So when I blow dry style his hair, I already get a nice feel for what it will look like if he goes ahead and blow dry styles his into place. As you guys can see, it's going over and back kind of like we like it to. That front's not really wanting to fall down like it was while it was wet. And then obviously we have some nice volume. I'm adding a little bit of the level 3 pomade. Not too heavy on it because obviously, like I said, with that Oriental already getting that shape and the desired height that we were looking for, there was really no need to really, you know, oversaturate the hair with pomade. A little bit of pomade, if you blow dry style your hair, a little bit of pomade will go a long ways, especially if you just do a little bit of a matte strong hold hairspray. You just style your hair with a little bit of pomade after you've blow dry styled it into place, and then just spritz it with a little bit of hairspray. You should be more than good to go. So we're coming in here with the Ergo, and we've got a closed 3 guard, and we're just going to go straight up and off as we always do. Anything that's left here as far as a heavy weight connection between the sides and the top, we're going to come back in a little bit with clipper over comb and kind of debulk that some. We're going to follow up this closed 3 guard with the half open 1.5 guard using the Wahl premium guard set. Now one thing I've noticed with the stretch bracket on this Ergo is obviously the point in the stretch bracket is for you to be able to have a wider range of the open and close section with your clipper. And so what used to be a simple muscle memory thing for me to go closed, half open, and then all the way open or whatever, now that stretch bracket on there has made that, I don't want to say difficult, but it has changed it to where I'm having to go back and make sure that I am cleaning out these sections as efficiently as I was before. Now once we did that half open 1.5 guard section, that was debulked enough for me to come in, go ahead and tap in our bald line with the cordless detailers, and then flip that trimmer over. We're just kind of flicking at that line so that our closed Ergo will be able to just immediately take that out without any trouble at all. Now we've got a fully open section here. This is at least a full inch here, a good finger's width. Then we're going to go half open and go about halfway to 3/4 the way up through this fully open section, and then you can close the lever up all the way, flick at that bottom line, and if it doesn't quite come out, you can come back in with your detailer or whatever trimmer it was that you originally set that line in and just kind of use the corners of your blade. But I do believe that this closed Ergo, because I have it zero gapped, I do believe that it comes in no problem, takes out that detailer line. So you guys can see me staring at the lever there, trying to make sure that I get this right where I'm wanting to. My muscle memory, like I said, has been thrown off a little bit by the stretch bracket. I was trying to get it to half open, so I had to make sure that it was actually in the half open position with that stretch bracket on there. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of go ahead and prep this open section here up into the 1.5 that we did previously, so that we can blend it fully out by using a half open, half guard. And of course we are using, like I said, the Wahl premium guard set. I tried using the double magnet guards that Babyliss sent with the X Ergo, and I don't really have anything majorly negative to say about them, but they weren't I guess good enough for me to feel the need to replace my Wahl premium guards. So of course, go with what you're comfortable with, go with what you know. And for me, I know the Wahl premium guards, so I went right back to them. Now from here out, on this side, it's going to be a lot of detail work, and then we'll just come in, use some clipper over comb, try to soften up that blend from the sides into the top. Alright, so I mentioned this a long time ago, guys, but I'll bring it back up again. I personally prefer the Oster flat top combs over the Andes flat top combs because the plastic of the comb itself is thicker. I feel like they are more secure. They don't have nearly as much flex as what the Andes flat top comb does. And I always like to have a white one and a black one. Obviously with this really dark hair, the white comb is perfect because that hair really shows up and it's a really nice contrast. We're going to start with the same guard on this side as we did on the right side. This is a closed 3 guard, and we're just letting it right off the head, right at that parietal ridge area. And like I said, guys, you can see on the other side, and I feel like you can definitely see on this side as well. I feel like this hair texture, especially when fading on the sides, is pretty difficult as well. Because on the other side, I didn't feel like there was such a noticeable difference between the half open 1.5 guard up into that 3 guard. On this side, I feel like as soon as I came through there, you can automatically see that guideline that usually on most hair textures is already blended out together. Trust me, guys, I'm going to come back in. Obviously, we're not done fading this side. I will get some of those dark spots out. But we're going to come in here with the cordless detailer, go ahead and set in our line, make sure we do pick out the same reference point to start this bald line as we did the other side so that they do match up. And then we're just going to kind of flick at that line, go ahead and take it out so that the closed Ergo will officially buff it out once we get down to that section. So there's your 3/4 of an inch to an inch or so open section, and then we'll just slowly start to close that lever, work our way down within that 1-inch little section there, slowly closing the lever as we work our way down until you get all the way closed. You should be right there at the bottom, flicking at that detailer line, and as long as it does buff out pretty good, you can go ahead and move on. If there is a hint of a line, you can close that lever all the way up, use just the few teeth on the end of your blade, see if that works. If not, go back, grab your detailer or whatever trimmer you set it in with, kind of flick at the line with just the corner of your blade. You don't want to push that bald line up anymore. And then what I'm doing now, this is the 1 guard. I started with the open at first, just kind of flicked up into that 1.5 guard section. It's slowly starting to lighten up a little bit, and then you can slowly start to close that blade up some. If you don't feel like you're really doing anything as far as taking off much hair, you don't ever want to do ghost swipes or take a bunch of swipes through a section if you're not noticing the hair get cut or the dark spots that you are working at. If you're not noticing them getting lighter, you need to close that lever up more or drop down to the next guard down. So once we got that overhang cleared up a little bit by using that clipper over comb, it allowed us to see a little bit more of the fade, and obviously it's still pretty dark right here. So this is just some detail work that we're trying to do, coming back in again, open 1.5 guard, just kind of flicking up into that initial 3 guard section. We're just trying to make sure, like I said, lighten up some of these dark spots. We don't want it to be, we don't want a real harsh, heavy, dark line through there. And then I will come back even after this part is over with and go ahead and lighten it up even more. So, like we've done on both sides before, we're going to come in with that closed 3 guard, up and off. And you do want to be a little more careful back here because you need to pay attention to the crown area and the length at which you leave it, because depending on the hair texture and what that texture is kind of dictating to you that it needs to be lengthwise, you need to make sure that you do accordingly. If you need to come off out more and like scoop out more, leave more length. If you need to not even use a guard on the back there and make sure that you use shears around the back just to make sure that it's left longer, then by all means make sure that you do that. I come in with that closed 3 guard. We knew that we could come straight up and off, and it was sitting just fine. The reason I knew that is because we did go ahead and pre-style the hair before cutting it. Now we did the 1.5 guard halfway open, just below that 3 guard. We had already set in our detailer bald line. We're finishing up the open section right now, and as you guys could tell, I'm really working on that open section. This I've got it sped up pretty good, but this one particular section, the open section, it took a while. Now part of that could be the fact that I did do the 2 sides and the back last. I need to make sure that I really figure out what technique works best for me. Somebody has suggested to me that I put the bald line all the way around at first. It's probably what I should really start doing, and really focusing on making sure that I do that on every cut. But right here we're coming in, we got the 1 guard halfway open. We're just kind of flicking up into that half open 1.5 guard just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And then the connecting guard, of course, to the open section is that half guard halfway open. And then from here, once we get the initial steps done, we'll go back in, try to do some more detail work, get all that blending as best we can. Like I said, this is a very difficult haircut in a sense because of the hair texture and the density of the hair. Different ways that you can turn them. The fade can look really good, and then when you turn them in a different direction or into a different lighting, the fade completely looks see-through. It all looks like the same color, so it's definitely something that you have to pay attention to. Alright guys, so like I mentioned in the previous video, I just got back from vacation. I'm just really getting back in the groove of getting behind the camera, then getting everything edited and out to you guys on a timely manner. So bear with me. It may take me a few more weeks just to get right back into the groove of it. It's crazy how long it takes you to get to where something becomes, you know, easy or second nature to you, and then how fast sometimes you know, you can immediately feel like you've, you know, backtracked so much. And that's kind of what happened with the vacation. So guys, help me out, do me a solid, hit that like button if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, consider subscribing if you're new, enable those notifications, that way you never miss another video from me. Sunday and Wednesday is my schedule. I'm going to be sticking to that as best I possibly can. Guys, like I said, this is a very difficult haircut because of the hair texture, but we did our best with it there. I did really like the way it styled out. I like the wedge kind of on the hard part side, so make sure you guys leave me some comments. Be ready for that next video, and I'll catch you on the next one.